Hey, look who I'm with, John Schaefer, because we're keeping it safer with Schaefer.
Yeah.
John, good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right, I don't mean to shake your hand and then throw bad news at you, but
I know.
Come on. Insurance, I can do this stuff myself.
That's right, yeah. But would you, go out there for a mechanic, would you go out there and replace your transmission and know how to do it on a brand new car?
No, no.
So let an expert do it would be a mechanic or, something of that nature, somebody that's done that.
I don't do plumbing, electrical work. Yeah, okay. All right, I get what you're saying there.
Yeah, or a YouTuber. So we're gonna
YouTube expert, right.
So we're gonna talk about, this is gonna be part 2 of our series of the insurance scams. So anyway, I've got a couple other stories here I'll talk about in a minute, but DIY insurance, everybody thinks they can do it, just like you can replace
I get flyers, there's plenty of stuff on the web, just walk
That's
through.
right. So I actually had a customer one time that added a car on, because with Progressive, they have access to add a car on, and they go, hey, will you check me? I added this car on for me. I went in there, and they had a brand new car. Well, they only put it liability, no comprehensive, no collision. So if they would have wrecked it, the insurance company wouldn't have paid out on it, and they would have been out $25,000.
That's not going to fly.
So that brings us into lack of expertise, So if you don't know what you're doing, probably don't do it. Misunderstanding insurance terms and conditions, like that person didn't know comprehensive collision, what that meant. So risk of underinsurance, so inadequate coverage. You could put state minimum, which we don't write that here at the Resource Center. We like to do the 50-100 limits to protect you. And professional guidance. You have no professional guidance, you do it yourself. You're just sitting at home watching TV, like, man, I think this looks great because it's cheap.
But you may find out 2 years down the road, oops, not a good idea.
You know what they say, if it's too good to be true, then it's
not
good.
Gonna work. No.
So red flags, I get these in a mailer myself from other agents. So, and I got to chuckle at these, but as you see on the screen here, you get these direct mailers to your house. Yeah, I'm sure you've got them.
Sure.
And so in a real world, I've had people call me like, hey, John, they can insure my house for $600. Okay, well, I haven't done a quote in the last 2 years. It was $600 on a house. Maybe it was a 1-bedroom, brand new home. But
I want that deal if it's good.
Yeah. So what we talk about, so in a perfect world, it'd have to be a new roof, perfect credit on your insurance score.
Right.
Higher deductibles. There's no endorsements, probably not full replacement. No kids, no dogs. That's a rating factor. Where it's at, like if it's in Springfield or if it's in Joplin.
Right.
Joplin has a higher risk of tornadoes and hail. So.
And then your credit rating on top of that also.
Right. So it's no bait and switch. You're going to call these companies like, hey, you said you can insure me for $500 or $600. I'll sign me up.
Yeah.
Well, they go in there and like, well, you owe us $2,200.
Again, if it's too good to be true, it is.
It's kind of like the mailers you get for the, you can buy a brand new Chevy truck for no money down and 1% interest. So same thing.
Never worked for me.
Me either. So anyway, we'll go back to the dishonest agents. Premium theft and agents also not really realizing what they have you insured for, and they may say they sold you something they didn't. So really getting that documentation and know what you're paying for.
Right.
Water sewer backup, full replacement on the roof. You may have actual cash value, not full replacement. So, they may false the policy, as far as the promises on that. So making sure you really check that policy documentation, you read through it. If you have a question, ask your agent for sure.
But see, that's what you do here.
Right.
I mean, I can sit down and say, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Right.
Because in all truth, I'm not very well versed on insurance.
Right.
All I want to know is I'm safe.
And that's what we do. I have my clients come in, I'll go through word for word. We sign at the bottom of the page to make sure they understand, I understand.
Right.
So if there's ever any questions, we know we walk through it. We can retreat back to that. So, and also like these agents asking for cash payments, like, hey, I don't want to, let's take cash. I don't want to take your credit card.
Yeah.
So I've seen it before where they'll take something, like they'll take the cash and they may take an endorsement off to make it cheaper, and then they keep the cash and not do the endorsement. So. Yeah, the odds of filing a claim. So.
And it can happen. These aren't things that you're, making up on.
Right. So just being fraudulent. So just making sure, Google, the insurance agent, look on Yelp, look on Google reviews, making sure that their agent that's been out there, they have those reviews.
Yeah. Well, you want to make sure you have a reputable agent. That's one thing that you provide.
That's right.
Being reputable, and you do all of the work as far as tracking down what the best deal is.
That's right. I always tell customer, give me your information. I'll compare apples to apples. We'll get you some quotes out there, and that's my expertise on doing that. So,
all right. People want to keep track of all the services that you do offer. Right. They maybe even just want a little bit of advice.
Right.
How do they
So
get that?
You can take out your cell phone, scan the QR code. That's a direct link to me, or you can call 417-766-4689, or you can look up Safer with Schaefer.
That's him, John Schaefer.